And second thing I had on the report is for Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress, the quarterly update from Executive Director Marc Roe.
Well, good evening. To begin, I'm sure that I owed Phil for something. I'm not sure what, but I owed him. Did I get the age right?
I dare you to ask him
low
how
on
old he
that?
is.
He's older than I thought.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
Today's Phil's birthday.
Apparently my 100th.
Mark, are you suggesting we should sing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Whoever wants to lead.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Phil. Happy birthday to you, and many more.
I'd rather be nowhere else.
Hearing some of your voices, you guys better stick to city leadership, not really in the singing game.
I honestly fear how he's going to get retribution. Okay, so on a serious note, we'll talk tonight, as usual, the condition that the city's in right now, and then we'll move into what will be the annual report of Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress to the community. So to begin with, as usual, we'll talk about the real estate climate in Ottumwa, and this is the most recent report we have is as of August. Median sales price of a home is $170,000, which that's about 96% of original ask price on homes. So the last report that we brought to council was $135,000, and it's not really that the market has went up, it's been the mix of homes that have went for sale have escalated. So while the number has went up, we have seen a significant drop of closed sales on homes over the same time frame. So houses are still moving into market, and as you can see, that sales price is starting to creep up there. So where 5 years ago you were seeing well under $100,000 was the average sales price of a home. Now it's nearly touching the $200,000 price point. So, and this is going to be a continuing thing that I report to City Council, at least for the foreseeable future, to talk about what the housing inventory, the growth or contraction of that looks like. So far this year, we have seen 3 new home build permits. These are single family units. All 3 of those were completed by nonprofit groups in the community, or in one of those cases was Indian Hills Community College. And then with that, we also saw 2 permits for multi-family apartment buildings. At the same time, we saw 11 condemnations and 20 houses demolished. So you can see we're, as reported back for 2024 calendar year, we're still seeing that negative slide here for the city of Ottumwa. And unless a whole lot of permits go out in the next 2.5 months, we're going to finish out 2025 negatively as well.
Do you know what we're at right now? Like, what are net losses on houses?
For the last 2 years since 2024, we're at 51. This is just a little bit of a more in-depth dive into the housing inventory detail here for Ottumwa. Right now, we have approximately 11,600 houses in Ottumwa. Registered rental units, 2,981, so 1,736 properties in the community. So we're hovering in that 15% range for rentals, which really kind of aligns with what the national average is. We're really not falling out of line with that right now. What is interesting, some data that I had received from Tim Albert at Ottumwa Waterworks, is we have approximately 460 properties in Ottumwa that have idle water meters on them. And in talking with Jake Rush just a little bit ago, we have roughly 160 out of that 460 that are placarded at the moment. So does that mean all of them need to come down? No, not necessarily, but there are about 160 of those that are placarded at the moment. The median house value, I don't think that this has been any shock. We've talked about this before, is about $83,000 in the city of Ottumwa, and the median house age, 87% of the housing units in Ottumwa are built before 1979. I don't say all of this to bring a huge negative light. I'm actually trying to paint a picture that we have some really good opportunities coming up here in the city of Ottumwa over the next at least year. As everybody is surely aware at this point, we were designated an Iowa Thriving Community, which gives us opportunities both for LIHTC housing credits and for workforce housing tax credits. This is an opportunity that we need to seize as a community. And I'm hoping that I'm painting not a disastrous picture for the city of Ottumwa, but more a picture of here's the proof that we can't let this opportunity slide away from us. And as a community, we need to work together to find ways to bring new housing across all price points to the city, because that is going to be paramount to the growth of the city moving forward. And then just to look at the workforce here, and this is really small. I didn't really think it was going to be that small for the unemployment rate. We did see over the last time that we reported to City Council, we saw an escalation in the unemployment rate over prior periods, most of that being layoffs from Hy-Vee. We had a lot of people that were in Wapello County that were working at the Sheraton facility, and they did a round of layoffs. So that's catching up with us, along with some of the seasonal work that has caught up with us. We'll see that bounce back to the positive direction here with the next report to council. But as you can see, the labor participation rate really hasn't changed that much. We're still pacing right along with the national average, although we are pacing below the Iowa average for labor participation, which is not necessarily too much of a shock given some other factors that we have in the community. So we have seen a little bit of a decline of available jobs over the last year, but again, a lot of that is due to layoffs in some of the major employers here. So with that being said, to turn to the annual report for GOPIP. We had a great year last year. This was since we started keeping track of data. This is probably the best year that we've had as an organization as far as fulfilling our mission to the businesses and the community that we serve. So just a little bit of what we did for our member businesses last year. We spent over $5,000 in radio advertising to our member businesses. We did 22 ribbon cuttings. Rick, he's had to do a lot of walking to go to a lot of those this last year. He probably said another one. But anyway, we distributed $16,000 worth of GOPIP bucks back into the community, and those are only available to spend at the local businesses here in the community, so they can't spend those at Amazon or anything like that. Those are dollars that are reabsorbed into the community immediately. We sent over 800 Flyer Friday blasts weekly to people who signed up for those, and more than 2,000 click-throughs to member businesses through our website. And with that, 338 specific business tags. So effectively, nearly every day of the week, we were tagging a business on our social media platforms. So all that said and done, direct points of contact to the businesses here in Ottumwa, we had over 45,000 points of contact directly related to the businesses here in the community last year. We offered translation services to 4 local businesses throughout the course of the year, and with the blessing of the Ottumwa Legacy Foundation, we're able to work with 7 businesses in the West End and the East End District to design and place new signage on their buildings. We grew by 15 members last year. We saw event attendance of over 4,500 people coming into our events for the year. And with that, we saw 89 volunteers, which is a record for us, having 89 volunteers with over 2,000 people hours working over the course of the year. We served as a fiduciary agent for 2 local businesses, and we engaged with the 8th Judicial District for community cleanups and working with Main Street Ottumwa for, good Lord, what am I?
Make Ottumwa shine.
Yes, thank you. I lost it there for a second. We distributed over $30,000 worth of grant dollars into the community last year, $7,100 to the Church Street District, $5,000 to the Wapello County Trails, $15,000 for the Ottumwa Riverfront Project, and $3,000 to community event sponsorships. And non-payroll related expenses, we reinvested $131,000 back into the community last year. And just an effect of GOPIP's touch into the community. All of the staff members served on 16 boards and committees last year. Working with other community members, and I think that that's where the progress of the community is important, is creating that working relationship, moving away from those silos as a community. We were able to take part in that to a significant degree this year, working with the City of Ottumwa for the pedestrian crossings on Church Street, working with, again, the City of Ottumwa to install floral sculptures on Church Street District. We've had a couple problems with a couple of them, but we'll get past that. We did purchase trash receptacles and flower pots for the district as well. We worked to complete with the City of Ottumwa and Rippling Waters and the Legacy Foundation the wayfinding signage for the City of Ottumwa. We held 2 legislative advocacy events for the membership of GOPIP, community videos and podcast episodes for the community, voter education and outreach, and we launched an international film festival. And as I'm sure everybody in this room, which I built this particular page before it was completed, we also launched, working with the Ottumwa Courier and Ottumwa Radio Group, a debate series for elected positions, and that will extend out past local races into state races as we move forward into the next election cycle. And I won't bother reading all of this stuff, but these are some of the other things that we worked with other groups here in the community to make progress happen, not only now, but into the future.
Mark, could you talk just a little bit, since it's on the agenda tonight, how GOPIP's worked with retail strategies?
Sure. So as everybody knows, that is a city contract. The last 3 years, the City of Ottumwa and the Legacy Foundation have financed that, and GOPIP has acted as the administrator of that contract. So what the last year has looked like really predominantly has been creating what the forward plan is for retail strategies. We know we have some hiccups in front of us, some barriers, and what does the retail strategies role in that look like moving forward? How do we harness the white box spaces that we have in the community, and how do we leverage those moving forward? And as a result of having those conversations, we have moved away from marketing the Quincy Place Mall and moved towards those other spaces, specifically like the former Target box And as a result of that, we are seeing an Ollie's location going into there. So, and with that, there has been conversations on the back end with some other potential either quick service restaurants or retailers that could potentially have interest in coming to the city of Ottumwa.
And it's my understanding, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think Retail Strategies was also responsible for bringing Five Below and also Jersey Mike's to Ottumwa.
That's correct. So what does the next year look like? I had said this during our GOPIP annual banquet last week, so there are a few people in the room that were there, so pardon me for duplicating my thoughts. But when we started the strategic planning phase of what the next 12 months was going to look like for the organization, I'm pretty sure that our board of directors thought that I was crazy because I asked, instead of to go with the status quo, I asked to allow us to do a whole lot more work. Some of that involved making some difficult decisions in the community, as everybody's aware. But we felt that those were necessary for the sustainability of the organization. So the first thing on that list is, which I won't belabor this because I know Cyan was in talking about it very recently, bringing Winterfest to Ottumwa and replacing out the former Holiday Nights and Lights holiday. And then we are reviving a coupon guide. And again, this is to drive local dollars into our local businesses. This is something that we'll be launching in December. And this has a pretty good circulation on it as it stands right now. And we anticipate that we should be able to see a pretty good return on investment for local businesses on this guide moving forward. So this will be a 6-month coupon book that the citizens can utilize to the stores of their choice. Then one that we are really excited about is a holiday 50/50 raffle, and the tickets are on sale if anybody wants to buy one. Which has a pretty good grand prize attached to it, $10,000 to whoever the lucky winner would be on that. And then we are also launching three other new events. One of them isn't listed on here yet, a legislative summit that will align with the Iowa legislative cycle. And that will be a ticketed event that's open to the public. And then also the Southeast Iowa Agribusiness Summit that will take place in February next year. As everybody's aware, the agricultural industry is the prime industry for Wapello County, and that is something that has probably not received as much attention that it should have over the past several years. So this is the first step to correcting that. And then finally, on this slide, we're launching a leadership book, a regional leadership book, not just localized to Ottumwa, called Momentum, that will allow people to highlight those leaders that have made an impact or they believe will make an impact in Southeast Iowa in the years to come. So with that, I'll take any questions that anybody might have. Yes, sir.
Mark, just looking at your presentation here, first I'd like to be a little critical. It's very difficult for me to read it. Maybe it's because I'm old and can't see that far. But nonetheless, hard to read. But on your last issue where you're going to give $10,000 away,
Yes.
did you give any consideration to make that $5,000 with two $2,500 so 3 people could win that?
I'm glad you brought that up, Keith. So in total, there are 19 prizes in that drawing. First prize is first of all, it's a limited ticket pool. So there are only 400 tickets available at $100 per ticket. So the 50% of that is $20,000. So while the grand prize is $10,000, the second prize is $5,000, the third prize is $2,000, and then there are several $200 and several more $100 prizes. So there's a pretty good chance that the people who are picking up those tickets can at least win their money back.
You must have been reading my mind.
Mark, I've had still had a lot of people want to know the reason why the popular holiday nights and lights is no longer going to be held. Can you just real briefly kind of give just a quick response as to why that's not happening this year?
Do you want a brief response or a full response?
Well, full but brief.
Okay. So we were under a 5-year contract with Winterland, which is the company who owns the lights, and that was also a revenue share model. We were the only city under their portfolio that still had a revenue share model. Typically, they work on lease only with their lights. So that 5-year contract came up, and I think it's also important for me to interject at this point that part of that contract was they were responsible for any damage or vandalism to the lights every year. With that revenue share model, we had seen over the last 7 years, but really in the last 5 years, setting aside 2020, 2020 was an anomaly. We have seen declined gate revenue for that, which obviously affected the Winterland's portion of the proceeds for that. Fast forward, over the last 2 years, we have seen several thousands of dollars worth of damage and vandalism. For example, the night subsequent to the closing night of Holiday Nights and Lights, which would have been December 30th, I believe, we went over to the park to check on it, and the controller for the tunnel had been completely ripped away from the tunnel, and with that they had damaged the tunnel to the point where it was non-operational anymore. So couple those two things together with the fact that they were moving to that leasing model. They increased the lease price if we were going to move forward with Winterland by over $50,000, which obviously is not sustainable by our organization. We had months worth of meetings with our board of directors on how can we possibly move forward with this. And one of the driving questions, because we knew based on several years worth of analysis of what the traffic was through there, the only option to move forward was increased sponsorship participation. And the question really became, was it going to be fair to ask every sponsor that we had to more than double their contribution? And the more people that we talked to, the more that we realized that not only was it not fair, it wasn't even it wasn't realistic. So we weren't making that kind of money, anywhere close to that kind of money for that event. So we would have been, $30,000, $40,000 in the hole just to produce that event. And that doesn't count. None of that counts the fact that when 20 years ago, when Holiday Nights and Lights was started, it was started completely on volunteer effort. All of the construction, all of the destruction, all of the manning was done with volunteers. Over the course of the years, most of the people that were around during the inception of Holiday Nights and Lights were retired folks. They have since either moved on or passed on. So the last 3 years specifically, we had so little volunteers that we had to pay labor to set it up, to tear it down, and to work it on most nights. We still had some nights like Doug's church, for example, was gracious enough to work every Tuesday night during the course of the events. But setting aside one-offs like that, we had to pay people to work those events. So, even the volunteer pool that we used to have for it doesn't exist anymore. So it was really it was not a sustainable event for us any longer. And from a production standpoint, it wasn't something that we could continue on with.
Well, I appreciate that explanation, because I know it's been a real popular holiday event for several years, but I just wanted the public to know that GOPIP really analyzed and had some very difficult decisions to make, and it just wasn't, like you said, financially feasible anymore to do it. So thank you for that explanation.
And just one more data point here, in 2021, and again, I set 2020 aside because that was a spike year because of COVID. But in 2021, our average traffic through that event was 5,200 cars. And we had scaled down last year because of diminished traffic. The year before, so the 2023 season, we had went from that over 5,000 cars to 3,700 cars. So that's in that short of a time frame. That's how fast the traffic has dropped in that event. So, and then looking at 2023 to last year, while we didn't see the nightly traffic drop any from an average perspective, it was reasonable to assume that if we were to hold it this year, we would see that same amount of decline this year as well.
Thank you very much for that explanation.
Mark, even though we all know the ending of Nights and Lights, even though that chapter is closed, there is a positive thing. We're getting Winterfest. So that's a new tradition we can start. That's something new we can all do. So, when one chapter closes, a great new one opens. So I do thank you guys for thinking outside the box. It didn't just go away. Something's replacing it. So
yeah. And I look at it from a positive standpoint. This is a healthy activity, a healthy lifestyle activity for people that are going to be attending it. It gets them up and moving, especially in the winter months in Iowa. It's hard to get people out and about and moving. This is an opportunity for them to do that. And then from our mission perspective, this has a very key mission attainment moment for us in the fact that we get to support our local businesses with having vendor space available. So
I'm glad you brought that up. My next point was that gets the small businesses right into everybody's space. So it's going to be fantastic. So Thanks for your work.
Any other questions for Mark from council? If not, we appreciate your report.
Thank you.